All right. Yeah, again, welcome everyone to this first Google Ads for the Channel live event here at Impartner. Of course, we're very excited to host this event today, where we're going to explain actually what Google Ads for the Channel is. It's one of the solutions that is actually acquired by Impartner from Tykinetics in August 2020. And it's a solution that is used by a lot of B2B tech vendors actually to help their partners to run digital tactics through the channel. But first, let me introduce you to my co-hosts who will be presenting here today as well. We have Isabelle Pampelune. She's the Global Partner Marketing Optimization Manager at Xerox. And she has more than 25 years of experience actually in the channel. And she uses our tool almost on a daily basis. So she has a lot of experience in implementing Google Ads for the channel. So we're very pleased that she's here to present today. And we have Emiel van der Klok. He's Senior Director Channel Marketing at Impartner. He also has almost 20 years of experience within the channel. Was also part of the team actually within Tykinetics that started Google Ads for the channel 6 years ago. So he launched it together with Google. And myself, so my name is Daan Mannaerts. I am the Business Development Director for Google Ads here at Impartner. I actually have a different background, so I have a background in digital marketing. I used to work for Google before joining Tykinetics and now Impartner. And I was actually also involved in launching this together with Emiel 6 years ago. So the agenda for today, there are a couple of topics that we would like to cover. The first topic is around digital trends, or the industry trends that we see within digital transformation for the channel. Then I'm going to explain what Google Ads for the channel is, how it works, and how you can implement it to help your channel partners to start with digital at the end. Then we have Isabelle explaining how Xerox leveraged Google Ads for the channel to drive demand. I think it's a very interesting story. She has a lot of experience in using the tool, so we're very happy that she can also explain what the actual impact was and how she implemented it. So I think it will give you a very good understanding of how the tool works. And then we have Emiel who will be explaining why actually Jay McBain from Forrester called Google Ads for the channel the crown jewel of the acquisition from Impartner. He mentioned that it's a very unique tool that can help you to drive demand with your channel partners, and Emiel is going to explain why he said that. But let's first kick off with some industry trends. As we all know, of course, the B2B customer journey has shifted a lot. So if you compare the impact of online in 1999 versus 2021, you see that there's a huge difference in the research journey. While in 1999, people who were doing B2B research and finding a supplier, they mainly were depending on the supplier itself. So all the information that they got was mainly from the supplier, so they had a lot of influence. While in 2021, of course, online plays a huge role. So on average, it's around 75% of the customer journey takes place before actually reaching out to the supplier. That also shows that online plays a huge role actually in how we do business and the importance actually of being present and making sure that the right information is available, because we know that people are well informed before they're actually reaching out to B2B suppliers. So it could be a vendor, but it could also be a reseller, of course. If you then look at how the market is shifting, we see that digital, of course, is growing a lot, especially in the last 10 years. You see huge growth in the advertising spend. If you now look at digital in comparison to offline, it's even bigger than all offline advertising together if you look at global spend. So it already shows that a lot of brands and vendors are heavily investing in digital, which is a good sign, I think, because they see the importance of digital. So that means that you would say, like, okay, all vendors and brands have adopted digital marketing and know how to be engaged with their customers, so that would be all good. But actually that's not the case, because a lot of organizations work with resellers, and also a lot of organizations that registered for this live event are channel organizations who are already investing in digital, who already know that digital is important, but they are working with resellers. And most of the times these resellers are actually struggling to start with digital themselves because they don't have the time, the resources to start off. They don't know how to start with digital. So we typically see that the adoption is really low within these resellers because they are SMB companies, small companies that don't have the time and resources to work on digital marketing. And of course, they work often with the multiple brands. So you see that they're struggling to set up these tactics for all those brands that they're selling or reselling. That is actually also shown in this graph where there was some research around what resellers actually do with their MDF and co-op funds. So how are they spending it at the moment? And we see that digital actually is less than 10% of their investment, which of course is really low. This also shows that resellers just don't know how to start with it. But on the other hand, we also see that 50% is unspent. And I think both have to do with each other. So because resellers don't have the time and resources, it also means that sometimes if they're working with multiple brands, it could be that they don't have the time and resource to also start off with other tactics as well. So they're not even spending the MDF funds. So you see that they could really be helped with tools that could allow them to enable digital tactics without the need to do a lot of things themselves. And that's actually how we also started with this program. So what we could state is that the B2B journey is really evolving. As mentioned, 75% of the B2B journey takes place before reaching out to the supplier. And digital is by far the most used source. So we know that 82% of the B2B researchers are using multi-screen. So that's both laptop and mobile phone. So it also shows how important it is to make sure that websites are responsive and that they can find the right information on the right pages. What we also see is that on average 10.4 sources are being used by B2B researchers who are looking for a B2B supplier before they are actually reaching out to that supplier. So you see that they use a lot of sources to be informed and to make a purchase decision before reaching out to the supplier. And it also shows the importance of Google, because you can imagine if a B2B researcher is looking to find a supplier, that Google is the #1 source that they actually go to because they want to find the right information. And Google is, of course, a tool that can help them to find that information. So you see that the buyer is really present online, but we see that the resellers are actually not. On average, we see that 80% of the resellers are not active with digital, especially also not on Google, because Google search is also a difficult tool to use. So we know that you need the time and also the knowledge at the end to make it successful. And often these resellers are just not able to. So we know that the buyers are online, but the resellers are not. And it actually is a risk for channel organizations, of course, because at the end, buyers purchase from your partners. And if they can't find them online, there's, of course, a risk that they won't find you at the moment that they want to purchase the products. That's actually why we also designed this framework, which is partly based on the Google framework called See, Think, Do, Care. To put it simple, it's of course just a marketing funnel that explains the different phases the customers are in. Of course, the C phase is around awareness. In the awareness phase, the role is really important for a brand to be there. Of course, people, it's good for brands to have brand recognition, that they know that people know what the brand stands for, that you're there in the market, so that people are more aware of your brand before making any decisions. Of course, it helps in that purchase funnel. But then we go to the think and do phase. So think is consideration and do is, of course, purchase, where we see that the reseller also plays an important role. And if we look at the numbers that I just presented, we already know that a lot of resellers are not present. So on the moment that people are considering to purchase a product, the reseller also plays a role, because they could be an advisor, a trusted advisor that could help them. And the brand, of course, plays a role in making sure that the right information is available. So you see that there's sort of an overlap. And then if you go to the do phase, the resellers are mainly responsible, let's say, in that phase, because they are the ones selling your products. And in that phase, it's crucial to be visible. You can imagine that a tool that could help you to be visible in terms of resellers, could really help in making sure that people are finding the right information from your brand, but also from the reseller. So that's just some background of actually how it started, and that's what Google also thought 6 years ago, because they thought, what would be the impact if you could help resellers to transform into digital marketing, and of course specifically on Google, because they knew a lot of SMBs are not that active on Google. The large brands are active. They also saw that local search is one of the most growing topics actually within Google. So they see a lot of the traffic is coming from people trying to find a local business. So they wanted to connect both to each other by helping channel organizations to run Google Ads campaigns at scale, co-branded. And it's actually the reasons, let's say, why this program started 6 years ago. So back then, Google reached out to a couple of suppliers, and Impartner, first Kinetics, and now Impartner was the only supplier where they started working together with, because they already had a lot of experience within channel marketing. And together they launched a new platform or new module within our platform called Google Ads for the channel. So what it does, it's most easy to explain it with 6 steps. To just give you an overview of how we work with our customers and what needs to be done to get this going. So step 1 is that we subscribe to partners in our platform. So what we need from them is their contact details, their logos, and that information is being stored into our platform. Then step 2 is that we configure a landing page. So the landing page is of course one of the main 2 elements of Google Ads campaign. So we use that page to drive traffic to, and on the page, of course, our goal is to make sure that we drive conversions, so that people leave their details and that we generate leads for the resellers. So on the page, which the content is provided by our customers, so the channel organizations, we have open elements which you can automatically co-brand for the partner, and that's done with the logo, of course, and the contact details that were provided in step 1. So the page can be used by partners. They can decide to embed it on their own website, which we call content syndication. They can do that by embedding a script on their website, and if they do that, they're really directing the traffic to the page of the partner, or they can decide to do it standalone, which is possible as well. So that's, let's say, the first element. Then the second element is the Google Ads campaign, and this is of course the new technology that was added on top of this, because sometimes actually we work with 300 partners in one country. You can imagine that it's a lot of work to set up a landing page, but also to set up the Google Ads campaigns. And that's something that Google wanted to automate, because they saw that it was very difficult, even if organizations were trying to make it successful within the channel, it wasn't, because it just took too much time and it was not cost effective. So that's why they wanted to automate this process, and that's what we've created. It's very similar as with the landing page. So we create one campaign in the platform. A campaign consists of keywords, ad copies, and we then select the partners that are going to participate with the campaign, and our system automatically creates all the Google Ads accounts and campaigns within Google Ads, because we're connected to their API, which you can imagine saves a lot of time, because we can do this for hundreds of partners at the same time. And also here we're co-branding the ads, which I will show in the next slide. Then we're going to activate the campaigns. As you see here, we work with radius targeting. We can also work with postal code targeting, or you can let partners to be visible in the whole state. It really depends where you want them to be visible. And then step 6 starts, which is the most important one. That's analyzing, optimizing. So in our platform, we have very extensive reporting available, where you can see as a vendor how partners are performing. So you will see the number of leads, clicks, impressions, etc. It's all available. And we also receive aggregated data that helps us to allow optimize accounts at scale. So both the building and the optimizations can be done at scale. So it's really a program that is designed for channel organizations to run campaigns with their channel partners. So now I'm just going to show you a live example actually of one of our customers, just to make it as tangible as possible, so that you also know what it looks like. So what I have here is a Google search that I'm typing in. So I'm typing in VPN security, and we have 2 partners that are being shown here on this page. So depending on my location, I will be shown the nearest partner. So if I'm typing in VPN security in the UK, I will see the ad from Focus. If I will be typing in VPN security in Abu Dhabi, I will be seeing the ads from Emercom. So both are partners from Cisco. And what we do is that you see that the ad copies are completely the same, but we co-brand certain elements such as the partner name and the telephone number and the URL. So let me also take you to the landing page because I think it explains it best. So you should imagine that I'm typing in VPN security. I'm located in the UK. I will be directed to the page from Focus. On the page, we have certain call to action. So also this is of course really based on the goal of the campaign and what our customer wants to achieve with it. In this case, the topic is security. So on the page, we have, for example, the button to request a security assessment. There's a contact us form, but we also work with certain assets. So as you also saw on the top, we co-brand the page with the logo that you see here, the telephone number, of course, and also the contact details that you see on the bottom of the page. Of course, if I'm leaving my details here, so if I would be filling in this form, I mentioned that I would like to request a pricing. Focus would receive an email that says Dan Manhaas from Impartner wants to request a pricing. They get an email and they can follow up on the leads, and they can also have access by our platform to see the leads as well. As I mentioned, what we offer is a templated approach, so it's really a one-to-many approach. So both the ad copies from Google as a landing page are the same. So as you see here, this is Emercom. So if I would be typing in VPN security in Abu Dhabi, I will be going to this page where you see the Emercom logo, of course, the contact details from Emercom, but the template is completely the same. So it's really a powerful tool if you want to scale this through the channel. So if you want to really push digital through the channel, it's a very easy tool for partners to participate because they just need to provide their contact details and logos, and you're off to go. Behind this, we have reporting available. So the reports show the main KPIs. So as a vendor, you can log in and see how partners are performing. So you have an overview where you see the reach, the clicks, the leads, and the cost per lead. We see the best performing keywords, which helps us to optimize all accounts at scale. And you have an overview of the funnel in general, and all the reporting can be filtered based on date, region, or partner level. So also here, which is I think very crucial also for Xerox, is that we are able to track everything what is happening, but it also means that you know where you're putting your money on. If you're working with partners, that can be very tricky. I think with this tool, you also have a full visibility of the funnel when you implemented the solution. So just to summarize, if you would compare this with, let's say, a manual approach, which was the case before this was created with Google and Tycoon now Impartner, is that you would need to build and optimize all campaigns individually. So in this example, you would have 5 partners that you want to run a campaign with. You need to custom build the campaigns and the landing pages, and then you can go live. And what we offer with this solution is actually that you can do it centrally. So you create one campaign, the partners can register online, you select the partners for that specific campaign, and our system automatically creates personalized co-branded Google Ads campaigns and landing pages, and are also optimized at scale. So it saves a lot of time. It's for both a vendor, but also for the partner, because partners can easily participate. And we always say their only worry should be following up on the leads, and we do the rest for them, as often they don't have the time or resources to do it themselves. So yeah, that was the first overview that I wanted to provide. So hopefully that gave you a good understanding of why we've initiated this program and how the system works. And I want to hand it over to Isabelle, who is representing for Xerox, and she's one of our valued customers that is really making use of the tool, and will explain more about the impact and how she implemented actually the tool.
Thank you, Dan. Nice presentation. So hello, everyone. I'm in charge of driving any business generation initiative for the Xerox channel partners. My goal is to develop their business. And indeed, I do support strongly this program called Google Ads for Partners. since 3 years now, and I'm going to present why and how and what we have done with Google Ads since the start. Next slide, please. So at the very beginning, what we wanted is to find a good way to engage new prospects, and search obviously was identified as the #1 digital source. That's why we were very interested to find a good tactic to play this game on search. And Google Ads is really the first tactic. If you want to be ranked at the top, you need to invest money on this one. Next slide, please. So when we discussed that internally, we thought it would be great to enable all Xerox channel partners to be digitally present where today's buyer is buying. And back then, when we started, it was in 2018, we had no partners investing money on Google Ads. We wanted, in addition to that, also to raise the awareness on the Xerox brand and to control a little bit what was done around our brand. We knew that our brand is under-penetrated among the SMB market. And on top of that, we wanted to be a lead generation vehicle for partners, enabling them with no efforts, at no cost, to receive leads is a critical cornerstone of the Xerox value proposition. So we started this journey by selected partners. It is a selected approach, and only 100 partners now do benefit from the support of Impartner in charge of implementing the Xerox co-branded assets and accelerate the results of the campaigns, because we use the expertise of Impartner to make sure that the campaigns are set up as best as they can to deliver the higher level of results. We do work very closely with the corporation to coordinate the efforts, and we will also enable the partners to pursue the conversation by implemented automated nurture campaigns through the tool. So what do? We create new interactions through impressions, clicks. We identify new contacts for our partners, and we generate business opportunities through leads. And we measure the number of close-won deals it has been delivered so far. We have implemented monthly reviews with each country involved, so we drive the performance of this program very, very closely. Next, please. Next slide. So what you can see here is an overview of the different co-branded landing pages we have created. There are 5 of them, and the topics have been selected according to our main area of focus regarding the offerings we thought best to promote on the SMB market. The interesting thing is that can evolve based on data analysis we do on yearly basis, because of course, at the end of the day, we want to attract as much as we can the audience we want to target. Next slide, please. So what are our results and learnings? If you go to the next one. I wanted to share the journey we took, because it's very important for you to understand that it's a joint effort. At first, when we started this adventure in 2018, we decided to go in a pilot mode because we were not aware of what to expect. So we have selected only 11 EMEA partners in 5 different countries. Our goal was really to understand the behavior of our audience and see how can we make this successful. The first big learning we had was around the costs. At the very beginning, it was quite costly to generate one lead, and we learned a lot around the appropriate keywords we needed to also target to make this successful. So we activate new features. We decided to change our strategy to move the budget, the media budget from display to search, in order to reach our goal, which would be generate as many leads as we can with the same amount of budget. So to decrease the cost per lead. Can you go to the next slide, please? 2019 was a very important year on this journey because we took the decision to expand quite widely, as you can see, 2 geographies, EMEA, but also US, 67 partners at the end of the 2019 years. So we decided to engage more countries with the same offerings, with the same amount of budget per partner. So we were very focused to find the best strategy to increase the number of leads we wanted to generate to partners, to be in this position to promote this program, so the partners will also pay more attention to it. And at the end, we reached that goal, but we also discovered the importance to put in place very powerful lead management process to be in this position to measure the ROI, because the higher the budget, the higher the pressure on results. So that was also something very important for us to realize, and we decide to implement a lead management, the Impartner lead management platform to reach that goal. We also discovered that a lot of leads were related to phone calls, and being in this position to track those phone calls was also critical. We understood also what were the assets which deliver the higher level of results, and we coordinate our efforts with Corp on content, but also on learnings. Next slide, please. In 2020, we expand, we accelerate, and we enhanced. So still more leads to be delivered per partner per month. And also our focus was to increase the conversion rate. So be in this position, not only to deliver as many leads as required, but also helping the partners to convert as many leads as they can. And so we did a lot of work on content analysis, brochures compared to ebooks. Impartner did implement a great additional intelligence around AI to pursue our efforts on downsizing the cost per lead. And we implement new content. We learn a lot around lead nurturing. We implement call tracking system to better serve our goals. And finally, what you will see in the next slide is a summary of the results. As you can see, impressive increase regarding the total number of leads. Google Ads has become the first source of leads across all geographies, all partners, not talking about the 60 partners I have engaged in EMEA, because what you can see here is very EMEA centric. It's whatever the tactic, Google Ads comes first. Despite the fact that we have, from the start, always spent the same amount of budget. Huge acceleration on lead generation still in 2021 compared to 2020. And because also we have in this position to be able to track the phone calls, which is also very critical, so the partners can call back anyone who did pass a call to them. As you can see, 15% of the leads are related to the corporate website retargeting efforts, which also something which needs to be kept in mind if you want to start this adventure. And the cost per lead has been decreased by 75% thanks to the hard efforts of Impartner and all the data analysis we've done along the way. 25% of the Google Ads leads, which should be considered as marketing qualified leads, are being converted by the Xerox channel partners themselves into opportunities, which for me is very encouraging. And the pipeline is growing, as you can see, because at the end of April, it has doubled compared to 2020. Can you go to the next slide, please? So very few things to highlight. First one is getting the support from agile experts is key, because your audience is very unique, your market may be very unique, your channel partners are maybe unique, and you are unique. So having the ear of one supplier able to answer your request is critical, and Google Ads requires knowledge, strong knowledge to be efficient. Another key learning, another highlight is that more and more partners want to expand their digital coverage and they need guidance. The COVID situation has changed a lot of things among our partners. They do pay attention now to digital tactics and they want to accelerate on Google Ads. So bringing them this unique value is key for us, for them. And you can use this tactic to influence internally your content creation process, because that will also make sure that where marketing puts a lot of effort on content creation, it's really relevant to what the audience is looking for, which is another thing, I think, a good benefit of investing time and money on Google Ads for partners. Thank you. I think I'm done now.
Thanks a lot, Isabelle. That was, I think, very good insights from a customer using the platform. So thanks a lot for explaining the story and being open on everything that you've experienced so far.
My pleasure.
Yep, thank you. So I'm going to share my screen, and that's here. Okay, so yeah, thanks a lot. So my name again is Emil. I started around 6 years ago being approached by Google on a cooperation because they knew that at that time Tykinetics was one of the players mentioned by Forrester and other analysts as one of the TCMA global players out there. And they approached us because, as I think many of the audience knows, within TCMA, you've got standard, I would say, traditional tactics, like, of course, email marketing, social marketing, but there was nothing around search marketing and Google Ads. So that's the reason that Google reached out to us. And I think about half a year later, we had a signed contract with Google, and we had a first version 3 months later to be able to run Google Ads campaigns together with your partners. So during the acquisition of Tykinetics back in August, let me click here. Yep. During that acquisition, or after the acquisition, Jay McBain wrote down in an article that this very unique deal with Google is the crown jewel of this acquisition. And I thought that would be nice to explain why that's the case. Why would Jay McBain say this? And besides what Jay McBain has been saying about this as a crown jewel, I would like to summarize with some main values that this solution provides in the market and the uniqueness of the solution still today in the market as well. So before I'm going to explain more about that, let's look again into the challenges of your partners. And I think that everybody that has a channel does still recognize those challenges which are written down here. But then if you look into Google Ads, some of your partners might already run Google Ads. Some of them might be very successful if there are bigger partners. But especially if you talk about long tail, it's becoming more and more difficult. And these challenges that are written down here are even worse for Google Ads campaigns than if we talk about social or email campaigns. So first of all, if you look at the online digital journey, it's became very complex. I hope that it became clear from this presentation from both Dan and Isabelle that we did some research and we found out, like, yeah, if you look at the customer journey, then the #1 tool used by end customers doing their research is Google, is search. So even if it's very complex, you'll have to start with Google to at least be visible once prospects are starting to search for your solutions, your company, your partners. So we said, like, although it's complex, start with Google. Of course, your partners don't have time, resources, at least, let's say, the long tail again, the 80%, 85% of your partners don't have time, resources, lack of knowledge and skills. And whenever they try to do it themselves, then we got a lot of feedback that they said, like, oh, it's very expensive and the results are not that good. And that's not just us that we heard that, but that was one of those reasons that Google reached out to us, because SME companies, for them, is more difficult to make successful than larger organizations that do have time, that do have the resources and the skills. So it's a matter of putting the right resources, skills, and knowledge into those campaigns to make it successful, whether you are a small company or a bigger company. So these are, all these kind of challenges that are out there. Because of those challenges that many partners have, and they do understand, most of them do understand how important it is to be visible online, we heard from a lot of customers the simple question from their channel partners that they asked for help. Could you please help me, customer or supplier, to run Google Ads campaigns? Whether it's a channel event, whether it's just partners that start running Google Ads and then they hire an agency and then the agency reaches out to the channel team. These are all reasons for our customers to buy in on our solution, because at the end, the success ratio without a solution hasn't been really promising, to be honest. So, and if you look at the individual items, the knowledge items that you need to understand to make a campaign successful, to lower the cost per lead dramatically, like you've just seen with Xerox, it takes time and it takes a lot of knowledge. It's not, I would say, as simple, and I won't say that an email campaign is simple, but it won't be as simple as an email campaign. You have to think about your bid strategy, which keywords to use. You need to optimize it. You need a landing page. It needs to be aligned, that landing page, together with your Google Ads campaign for a quality score within Google. Lots and lots more that you need to know. So that's why you can understand that the majority of the channel partners are not capable of doing this themselves. And we've presented these slides on channel events, and I can tell you this is one of those slides that is most recognized by all of the partners, because they say, like, this is exactly the problem. I don't have this knowledge. I don't have the time to build up that knowledge. So I have to reach out to an agency, but the agency has to start to understand my business, and then again, reaching out to the vendor, to the channel manager, or to the channel team, asking content, and then the channel team is overwhelmed with a lot of individual requests from all kinds of partners. So this is, of course, one of the reasons that Jay McBain said, like, it's a crown jewel, because with Google Ads for the channel, you are finally capable of running a Google Ads campaign with your partners. It became feasible now. And I think Dan already explained the solution itself, but just to summarize it, right? It enables you to run these kind of campaigns at scale. So not with 5 partners or your 10 top partners. No, you could run it with hundreds or even thousands of partners with the same effort. Because again, we just built one campaign And that campaign will automatically be created for all the partners out there, and it will be automatically personalized and co-branded and targeted in their own regions and areas. So the scalability is a very important part to be more dangerous out there in the channel and increase also your own visibility of your brand on local level together, co-branded with your partners. As I always say, you might be as a brand, you might be a sort of hero out there, well known, but your partners might be the local hero out there. And the combination of those two, the co-branded campaigns on local level, the visibility, we found out that that's very beneficial for both organizations, the channel partners as the vendors itself. Because it's so scalable, also the cost itself are reduced dramatically in the channel. You can imagine that normally if all the partners would individually do something like this and build their campaigns and reach out to an agency, then each individual partner needs to build the campaign itself. So these are consultancy hours, landing page, Google Ads campaign. They need to optimize the campaigns, which is also consultancy hours. So there's a lot of additional cost involved, which we take away because we only have to do it once for the whole group, but still on an individual level. So that takes away a lot of cost in the channel for the vendor, but also for the partners. Basically, if a partner wants to participate and they say like we want to use our own budget for it, they only have to use the budget for media budget and not for consultancy, because that's already done. So that's one. Of course, let's say the huge decrease of the necessity of knowledge. Basically, the partner don't need any knowledge to participate in the campaign. We always say like they only have to raise the finger and say like we would like to participate, and then we can enable them to an existing group campaign that we have set up for our customer. So the ease of use is very, very important because that enables them to participate. And then on top of that, it was already briefly touched by both Dan and Isabelle. Don't underestimate, let's say, the power of artificial intelligence. Of course, setting up the campaign is one, but we all know that if you run a Google Ads campaign, you also need to optimize the campaign continuously. Otherwise, because that online landscape is changing, the competition is changing, you need to bid different, you might even need different keywords. So it's a continuous effort, and that takes a lot of work. If you do that for one account, it's already quite a lot of work, to be honest. But if you have to do that for 100 accounts or 1,000 accounts, it's simply not feasible anymore. This is the reason why a lot of agencies reached out to us to ask like, okay, I've got customers, but they've got, let's say, 100 partners, and I'm not going to do these campaigns because I can't make it profitable for anybody. And that's what we are doing here with our artificial intelligence. We automate the full optimization of these campaigns. And we do that on top of big data. So you could say like, but within Google, for the people that are more familiar with Google, you could say like, within Google, you also have smart bidding and that sort of things based on AI. That's true. However, they don't do it on the big data of all the accounts together. They only do it on your own account. So just as an example, right, if you have some conversions, then and you want to start using that to optimize your campaign, and you have just one account, you've got 3 conversions that month. Well, if you are in a group and you've got 100 partners, you've got 300 conversions, then you have much more data to make the right decisions for all these accounts. So the AI, together with big data of the whole group, will result in better cost per lead and better results in general. And that's where Isabelle explained, the reduction in the cost per lead, 75% from the beginning, has partly to do with adding the AI component. The AI component we measured around 25 up to 50% cost of lead reduction. So this is again one of the reasons, of course, that that Forrester, Jay McBain mentioned this as a crown jewel. To go into a little bit more on the AI topic, just to explain, why this is so powerful, is simply to do with the fact that with the AI or within Google, you've got hundreds of parameters that you need to think about to optimize your campaign. It could be, of course, your keywords, which is the most obvious one. It could be the bidding, but it can also be geographically, it can be gender. All that sort of things are important to optimize your campaigns. If you have to do that manually, it's a lot of work, but the AI technology is doing around 1,000 changes each day for every account. Yeah, so the AI is doing 1,000 changes per day for every partner. And because of the big data, it makes better decisions than that you could ever do manually. Again, the 25%, 50% reduce in cost per lead was compared to people with 15 years of experience building the campaigns. So I just want to emphasize this is a very important component of the technology. Another very important topic on top of this was already touched by also both Dan and Isabelle. That is the fact that this solution finally enables your organization to align your Google Ads campaign on corporate level with your channel partners. So we have had in the last 6 years many questions from our customers saying like, you know, the problem is that my channel partners are doing their own thing, and then we've got our corporate campaign, but basically our corporate campaign is competing against our channel campaigns on the same kind of keywords, and because of that, the cost per click goes up, right? In that auction system, it's just based on demand, and the more people are advertising, the higher the click cost will go up. We call that artificial bid inflation. Even this is something that Google mentioned to us. They said like, we are not interested in short-term artificial bid inflation because it's always a short-term strategy. Whenever the price goes up and it becomes too expensive, we will lose customers, right? So they say like, if we can, with this solution, align everything between corporate and the channel partners and reduce the artificial bid inflation, then that's a more sustainable strategy overall to keep customers. And I think the fact that we are, you know, running these campaigns for Xerox for now since 2018 and expanding is the fact because, you know, we are in control of this. We work together with Xerox Corporate to align on this. It means that Xerox Corporate, very high level, creates a lot of awareness and drives traffic to the corporate website. And we connect the dots by having access to the visitors of the corporate website by the corporate campaign, which we are not doing. That's another agency. It's a large agency doing this for Xerox Corporate. But we are connected to the website and we target all those visitors that are generated in this corporate campaign on local level with the channel partners. And that's where people want to buy. So this is an important one. This is also one of the reasons that Jay McBain said, like, this is a crown jewel, because it enables you to be in control finally of this whole landscape and not compete against each other, but work together as a team to really benefit on both levels, the corporate, so the brand itself, as the channel partners. One of the last slides is around why Google Ads is potentially the #1 digital source for leads. For Xerox, like Isabelle mentioned, it is the #1 digital source of leads. For other customers, it all depends, of course, on how much media budget you also put into this one. But in general, I would say, based on this picture, I try to explain, besides, let's say, budget that you push into this, the reason why this is potentially your #1 digital source. If you look at the orange cloud, this represents, let's say, the audience in a certain geographical region that you want to target. So I'm in London, and let's say the red persons are the hot prospects. If you would run email database campaigns, you will always have a subset of the potential prospects out there. If you run social campaigns, it will always be a subset of your potential audience with all the hot prospects, right? So the nice thing of Google and search is that you, instead of getting access to your known databases and your known followers, you also get access to your unknown audience. And that's the biggest audience out there. And the nice thing of Google, of course, with search is those people are actively searching. So if you use the right keywords, then these are the people that will convert. And you can see there are many more than just in a database of social followers or email databases. So you've got access to the full market, and that's why it's potentially also the #1 source for leads for the channel. Last slide is about, we just talked about, the amount of leads that are generated. Sometimes we get questions, is it just leads? No, it can also be connected to e-commerce, for instance, or it can also be deals, online deals. But whether it's leads or deals, we just discussed about that. But there is a lot of additional value on top of this just because of the data. And Isabelle briefly already mentioned, right, the Google Ads search information gives a lot of information about custom search and click behavior on landing pages, which enables you to make decisions on the content. Which content is most important because of people searching for it. We might think that, for instance, let's say you've got 5 themes and one of the themes is security. You might think security is very, very important, but then we found out that only 1% of the volume is security. So why would you then add a lot of budget and dollars into creating a lot of marketing material for it, while there might be other components that are much more important? So we have experienced with almost every customer that besides the leads, also the data itself provides a lot of additional value. So I would like to finish with this one, with the last 5 minutes left, to have the opportunity for questions and answers. If you've got any questions anyway around the solution and how you can benefit from this crown jewel of this acquisition, then please reach out to us. You can reach out to Dan, as you can see below, or if you're an existing customer, to your customer success manager. Reach out to us and we are more than happy to help. So let's go into some of the questions. Everybody that does have questions, you can enter them into the questions area of GoToWebinar, or you can also put it in the chat box. So let me check. Let me see the first question here. It's saying, within a country, does the search results in the nearest city the user is present? So basically, in the nearest city, the user is present. Okay, so sorry. So let me write it again. Read it again. Within a country, does the search results in nearest city the user is present? So the search results in it. Yeah. So this is, sorry, this is a little bit confusing, but let me explain this. So the geographical targeting is something that you as a vendor can decide on. So like Dan mentioned, it can be radius targeting. So like with a customer like Michelin, what we are doing, it's all small garages, and they've got, let's say, 60-mile radius targeting around their garage. So it means that whenever someone is searching in that geographical area, then the advertisement from that specific partner will pop up. If we look at Xerox, then we don't do that on radius targeting, but on postal code targeting is city targeting, in which Xerox has an agreement with all the partners, like which is the sales area that you are allowed to sell in. And we use that geographical targeting to embed in the platform. So what I want to say is, like, it's not automated, that it's saying like, oh, a user is searching and then it finds the nearest dealer. No, it's in a way that you configure it yourself. And then I can imagine the next question around this, which we get a lot, is like, what do you do then if you've got multiple partners in one city? Well, this is quite a technical question, but basically within the Google system, of course, you can decide, or we can't decide, but the Google algorithm will decide which partner will pop up on the search result. And because of the volume available, so the amount of searches available, you can still evenly distribute that sort of volume to have a fair share for every partner in that area. I've got not a lot of time left anymore. Let's see whether I can answer just one question that's left, and we will get back anyway with your questions personally after this event. Let me see. Please share the presentation. Yeah, we will get that done. Overlapping territory, so I just answered this one. City targeting for country, India. I think that's all kind of similar questions. And I had, let's see, one question on top of here. Yep, so how would this work with OEMs or other type of partners who are using solutions as a part of a bigger solution, which is differently branded partner by partner? That's a very relevant question. The power of the system, of course, is that the campaign is the same for everybody, with the co-branding part excluded, right? So the logos and the name. If you have a different solution per partner, then you might, the question is whether it's still beneficial. It depends on whether there's a component that's always the same for everybody that you can explain, and there's potentially a component that is different per partner. If that component that is different, we can automatically co-brand as a co-branding feature, then it would still be feasible to run these kind of campaigns. So yeah, we will get back to this question personally, just to better understand the context of this question. So I think I've not been able to answer all the questions, but we are running out of time. I would like to thank everybody for joining this webinar. I hope it has been useful. Again, reach out to us if you've got any questions, and I would specifically like to thank Isabelle for hosting and for sharing her story on Xerox. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.